Hello and welcome to a video of my first successful Zuck kill. My plan is to upload this and give some commentary to give something back, so if this even helps one person with clearing their own Zuck, I'll be happy. I'm avoiding covering the basics of how you fight Zuck, as there's many resources already for that, so this will be some less obvious tips and what I found worked for me. So for some stats, this successful attempt is my 50th attempt at the Inferno, and I saw my first Zuck at my 31st try. This Zuck here was my 7th Zuck in total. The amount of attempts that it will take you will differ based on your starting skill level and how quickly you identify mistakes and improve. Do not ever compare yourself to others. Anybody can do this cape, you just need to stay motivated and always look at how you can improve your own gameplay. I'm also happy to answer any questions that you might have yourself about how you do the Inferno. Now, something I did that isn't mentioned anywhere is toggling my Ring of Suffering to enable the recoil for Zuck. It's a small thing to do, but it helps damage up the ranger, and you can potentially avoid having to take another hit, or even the entire way across the arena if you get unlucky bursting him down. So on this first ranger, you'll see I do a total of 5 recoil damage back, and that could have avoided me taking another hit. Also, be ready to blowpipe spec the second you take a hit, as it both boosts your damage and gives you some free health back. Another tip I can give is to record your own footage whilst learning. This is great because you can watch it back to see how you would have played differently when you die, but even better, you can also send it to more experienced players and ask for their opinions on how they'd have solved the wave, or what flick they'd have tried, or anything like that. This is something I did myself to accelerate my own understanding of the Inferno. Personally, I use the We Do Raids Discord server where they have an Inferno chat, but I'm sure most high-level clans also have a place you can post your clips and discuss where you went wrong. Here you can see the basic firing pattern for attacking Zuck. Starting from a corner, you take 2 to 3 shots from the corner, 1 from the middle safe spot, 1 from the center of the room, 1 from the next safe spot, and then 2 to 3 from the far corner. You can always take 3 shots from the corners if you're tick perfect, but for a first game attempt, just don't worry about it and be okay with taking 2 shots from the corner if you're unsure you'll get the third one in. It's always better to take 2 than risk taking a Zuck hit. In addition to my safe spot markings, you can see that I've also marked 3 tiles red using Rune Light. If you try to attack Zuck from any of these red tiles, you'll be deemed out of range and dragged to the center of the room, probably away from the shield and likely resulting in your death. This has got me killed before, which is why I've marked them red as a visual reminder to never fire at Zuck from these tiles. This is also why it's important to keep in time with your firing pattern instead of attacking as often as you can. Going into Jad, you want this firing pattern to be second nature to you, so that you can focus on dealing with the Jad instead of where you're standing. If you need to practice this mechanic, I recommend soloing Saradam in God Wars with a twisted bow, as if you mark the tile to shoot from and run around the room, is actually fairly similar to this fight here. Bonus points if you begin to pay attention to and flick the minions that are in Sarah. Since the set time is now paused, you can now take your time to heal your health back, as Jad won't spawn until you hit Zuck below 480 hit points. I also use a dose of ranging potion here, because when Jad spawns, the minion timer is resumed, meaning it's in your interest to kill him as quickly as you can. For Jad, you'll see that I turn my camera away from Zuck completely to concentrate on Jad. If you're familiar with the rhythm of the firing pattern, just focus on Jad's attacks primarily. You'll know when to move out of the corners because you'll see the shield begin to move again, and unless you're moving to the next tile, just keep your eyes glued on Jad. I use Blood Barrage to tag multiple healers at the same time to avoid Jad being healed as much. Only do this if you're comfortable in the situation. To me, this Jad is much easier than triple Jad, but this may differ for your cape. If you're less confident, you can wait for Jad to attack you first and then tag the healers. Healers will always spawn to the north of Jad, and often in a clump where one barrage will aggro all of them. Something that I've not done but that could be useful is to use Rune Light to highlight the healers so you don't misclick on them when you're trying to move between safe spots. You can do this with the NPC Highlighter plugin. So after Jad, there's 2 main obstacles left between you and the cape, and that is the healers and Zac becoming enraged when you trigger the healers, which will increase his attack speed, meaning that he'll attack more often and the safe spots which were previously working will no longer work. I'm intentionally keeping my hit points lower to preserve my ranging potion dose to try and get him down as quickly as I can. With a twisted bow, if you feel like you've had a quick Zuck with a lot of damage, you can proceed straight to the healers. But in this run, I felt like my damage wasn't the quickest, and I had plenty of supplies to use, so I decided to wait until the next minion set spawned before I started the healers. What you really want to avoid is having to a situation where you have to deal with both the healers and a Minion set, where you can just wait for the second set to spawn and only start the healers after that when you're ready. You may have noticed that where the shield's moving, there's no textures and it's just a grey area. That's because I'm playing in low detail mode on Runelight, which just allows me to see tiles a bit easier because there's no textures applied on top of them. So since the shield moves at the same speed as which you walk, you can just disable your run and walk along with the shield until the minions spawn, and you don't have to use your stamina pots. You can keep all of the mages alive at this point, as long as you have plenty of super restores left. If you're running low, you can choose to kill the major to save some prayer, because you can disable Protect the Mage again, and it also allows you to use Redemption on the healers, but taking the time to kill the major will increase the chances of a third set spawning before you finish the fight, so I don't recommend it. Keep in mind here that the second you spawn those healers, suck Will and Rage, and you can no longer rely on the marked tile safe spots. You'll now need to stay with the front half of the shield. The shield's protection is actually one tile ahead of where it visually looks like it is. This makes standing in the back half of it a danger zone, because you could be deemed outside the shield as it's moving. You can also stand more in front of the shield than you'd reasonably expect and still be fine. Don't start the healers until you've brewed up to 115 health and you've also used a range potion to burst them down as quick as you can. Here you can see that I've forgotten to use my ranging potion, but luckily I got a lot of good hits anyway with my dragon darts. Make sure you switch to dragon darts by the time you can consistently reach Zuck. Make sure that you move further into the corners than you need to, just to dodge more of the fireballs from the healers. Also, try and burst one down on each side so that they die quicker. You should focus on staying at the front half of the shield above getting every possible hit you can out of your blowpipe. Also, don't be afraid to run your health down a bit before you brew up, just so you make the most of your ranging potion. Once you've beaten the healers, you can take your time to heal up and you're on the home stretch. But don't get lulled into a false sense of security after they die, because this part is still more dangerous than the start. You're against a clock for more minion sets to spawn, so you want to still have a ranging dose just to burst down the last 400 or 500 hit points left on Zuck. So for attacking Zuck at this point of the fight, what I found worked for me was keeping to my firing pattern from the safe spots, but no longer just automatically clicking to the next safe spot tile as it may not be safe, instead of staying with the front of the shield, but only firing when I reach my next tile. It is similar to the start of the fight, however you have to stay much tighter to the front of the shield than at the start. Another tip I can give to help preserve supplies is to consider your prayer level breakpoints for super restores. If you didn't know, the super restore restores prayer points based off of your prayer level, and every fourth level gives you one extra prayer point back per dose. This means that the breakpoint levels for more prayer is every prayer level that is divisible by 4. In practical terms, when I level from 85 to 92 prayer for my Infernos, I effectively got a free 104 prayer points from my 13 super restores that I take in, which also adds up to another free super restore. I hope you found something in this video useful, and best of luck for your Inferno.